Salmon of knowledge, it's a 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 salmon of knowledge, Edwin Salmon of Knowledge podcast. Hey, Salmon Skins, welcome to another episode of Edwin Salmon of Knowledge. I am recording this episode in the living room of the apartment I share with the wonderful, wonderful Cara. And I'm sitting in a chair, quite comfortably, and I have a blanket over me. And the reason I have a blanket over me is twofold. Number one, it's good for sound. Number two, the monsters can't see me under here. They might just think I'm a misshapen pile of sand that looks suspiciously like a man. But they're just going to assume it's sand and move on. And not eat me. Because it's Halloween time. Woo! And I've been doing some Halloween-y stuff. Well, you know, I've been cowering in fear from the infected people that I see walking around the city streets of Dublin. I just assume many people are infected. A lot of people going around with one crutch. And they're not old people. And they're not pirates either. If they were pirates, I could excuse it. Or if they were old, I could maybe excuse it. Because, you know, maybe one of their hips is gone. And they're just getting around as best they can. Or maybe, just maybe, they're looking for treasure. And I don't know how many people are going to be dressing up this Halloween. We haven't gotten any decorations. Not that we're not getting into the spirit of things. We did watch Hocus Pocus. I'd never seen Hocus Pocus before. And a lot of my friends were saying, I can't believe that. Well, not a lot of my friends. Just while I was watching it, myself and Cara were watching it. She'd obviously seen it a bunch of times. She's much younger than I am. I am the old man with the young trophy wife. And she'd seen it a bunch of times. I'd never seen it. And I think that's because the same reason I never watched Labyrinth when I was a child. And I'll tell you for why. It's because there was females in it. And I think as a child, because the majority of movies have, you know, male protagonists, and usually male antagonists as well. I'm thinking of David Bowie in Labyrinth, but because it was a girl in the lead role, I was like, I can't relate to this girl. And maybe Hocus Pocus was the same reason, because it was a sort of a kind of a Disney fun comedy Halloween romp with Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy Najimy. Is that how you say her name? But I was like, I have no interest in this witches thing. I thought it was a musical thing, and there is a musical number in it, which, I mean, doesn't make sense because the witches are 300 years old, or they've been dead for 300 years, and then they come back to life. And Bette Midler knows all the words to contemporary songs that she really shouldn't know because she's a witch and she's 300 years old. But I thought it was very enjoyable. I thought all of the witches were having a great time, and just a fun movie, a fun early 90s movie with very, very obvious Nike product placement. And you know what? I didn't really mind that. Now, my father, Jerry, will not be enjoying this section of the podcast because he doesn't really enjoy it when I talk about movies. He is at home in lockdown to Electric Boogaloo. Let's all kill the virus. He's just singing that song nonstop. We're going to lockdown to the second lockdown view, and then we get the COVID. So he is, he's making jigsaw puzzles. That's what he's doing. He's putting them together. He's not making jigsaw puzzles to sell on his little online store. Jerry's Puzzles. It's just a picture of his face with a thumbs up when you complete it. It's like, well done. Now we'll try 1,000 piece. No, he's doing my older brother, Julian, who does listen to the podcast. Hi, Julian. And hi, Jonathan, who lives in Berlin. I love you, brothers. I miss you very much. Especially Jonathan, because I haven't seen him. And myself and Julian have seen each other during this whole thing. But I have not seen Johnny in close to a year now at this stage, which is the longest we've gone without seeing each other. And, you know, it's not fun, especially for him, because he's surrounded by German people. And German people, God, they're the worst. Look, I think we all know our history, and we know what the Germans did. And it was horrific. And I'm talking specifically about their entries in the Eurovision Song Contests over the years. None of those songs had any kind of tune behind them. They were all an assault on the senses, mainly the sense of hearing. And we should just skip over any of that. I'm sorry I brought it up. I know it's triggering for many people when someone mentions the Germans and what they did in that otherwise magnificent European-wide competition to see who can write the best song. Who's the best songwriting nation?
Hey, Miss Kiss, let us dance. Mrs. Kiss, Kiss, bang, she's not a fool. Extraordinary and oh so cool. When I feel the touch of her sweet lips, I know this is a devil's kiss. She sets my soul on fire with no return. Ooh, baby, just burn, burn, burn. And I think we're like Mr. and Mrs. Right. So I'll give you my heart tonight. Miss Kiss, Kiss, bang, come and let us sing. Miss Kiss, Kiss, bang, now let us sway. Take your sweet, sweet, sweet little thing. Mrs. Kiss, Kiss, bang.
God, I wish that was just a thing we could just complain about. But instead of this entire thing, I mean, I was talking to my dad for quite some time on the phone just before I recorded this about this whole lockdown 2 situation, or some countries are calling it the circuit breaker, the big pause, the COVID killing fortnight, the flu death, Bangaree, and other such names that make no sense. It's interesting the PR spin that they're putting on it. And, you know, there's protesters and there's idiots. And at this stage, I don't know, how long we've been at this now? 8 months? 9 months? Long enough to gestate a child and give birth to it. And people are still confused. Well, I don't know if they're confused or that they're just so apathetic at this point that they just don't want to follow any of the rules and do anything correctly. I mean, I think the rise of the conspiracy theory stuff is people just trying to gain control. That's all it is. This thing is out of your control. There's nothing you can do about it. Unless you're a fucking scientist in a laboratory and you're some sort of genius scientist who can whip up a vaccine, lickety-split, then you have no control over it. Nobody's an expert, and people, unfortunately, we have a lot of educated people, and then we have a lot of people who have graduated from the University of Google, and those people are the people who are fucking it all up, and who are distrusting of everything and anything, especially the government. And I get it. Like, I mean, governments, for the main, are, you know, not very good at their jobs for the most part, and it seems like they're, in this instance, definitely 2 steps behind this virus and this lockdown that maybe should have come a fortnight ago. And I guess the reason it's 6 weeks is because they want to see how many cases come up in the next fortnight. But it's also very confusing because we've got the same numbers that we had in, you know, April, the peak of the first wave, and, you know, schools are still open and elite sports are happening. And elite sports to me, whenever I hear the word or the term elite sports, I always think of billionaires on an island hunting the deadliest game of all, man with a gun, you know, to give him a fighting chance. Because, you know, just chasing a man, I mean, obviously he's smart, but if you corner him and he's got nothing to defend himself with, that's not really fair. So I think it's a shame that these elite sports where billionaires are hunting down human beings and killing them is going ahead. And that upsets me. But I think, in general, I think this entire, you know, we're in this together kind of rhetoric is a little bit of spin. It's PR spin. It's people trying to make you believe that we are all in this together. And for the most part, I think people are. But you just have these people that just don't give a shit. There's people that are completely deluded and think that Bill Gates wants to put microchips in their heads or whatever, and that wearing a mask will poison you because you're breathing in CO2 and not oxygen. And, you know, like, I mean, I posted something on Twitter. I tend to stay away from posting things on Twitter and getting into arguments on Twitter, because all Twitter is 3% of the population screaming at each other in a room and then leaving the room and locking the door behind them so they don't have to listen to that person again. But, you know, which is them just blocking them. But I put something up about masks and you know, it's and conspiracy theories, and just like, shut up, wear a mask, be considerate of other people. It's not all about you. I get it. You're not in control. You don't understand what's going on fully. So you're latching on to this nonsense from Jim Core and Van Morrison and other well-known musicians. And they're not experts either. So, I don't know, like, just shut up. And then someone was like cheekily saying, it can get in your eyes and your ears as well. And I almost felt like, I was like, what? Okay, fair enough. And then afterwards, you know, like when someone says something and you're like, you want to think of a comeback, and you're like, well, you're need to cover your face with the mask because your face looks ugly. And then you walk away going, oh, that was so bad. Why couldn't I think of anything? And of course I thought of something like a couple of days later, because I posted a picture on Instagram where I had a hat on, I had headphones on covering my ears, I had sunglasses on, and I had a mask covering my mouth and nose. So I actually had everything covered. And I wish I could have thought of that and just tweeted that photo and was like, there you go. But it's almost like, yeah, it's going to get in. It's about reducing the risk. It's not like saying, you know, people are dealing in absolutes. And if you're a fan of the Star Wars saga, or at least part of it, as I am, you know that only Siths deal in absolutes.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Not like here. Here everything is soft and smooth.
Now, other news. Fungie the Dolphin is gone missing, presumed lost, and assumed to be dead. I think Fungie, like my personal history with Fungie, when I was 16 going on 17, when I was 16 going on 17, I don't know that song. When I was 16 going on 17, myself and my family went on a holiday. It sounds like I'm separate from them and that like I organised the holiday. But no, I didn't. It was my parents that organised the holiday. And we went to Kerry, and we travelled around, and we went to Dingle, and the weather was lovely. We were down in Dingle, and I remember standing outside a pub, and drinking illicitly because I'd already started my drinking career when I was 16. Drinking Carlsberg, I think, was my beer of choice back then. It's not my beer of choice now. It's Guinness all the way. And we went out in the boats to see Fungie. And I took some photographs on a camera. And this is back in the days when it was a film camera. Filum. Film. That's how we say it in the Midlands. So I got my film camera. And Fungie was like, coming up and surfacing and diving back down again, doing that thing that dolphins do, the old dolphin two-step. And I got some photos, and I was like, "Oh, I hope they come out." And I got some lovely photos actually. They turned out really well. The sparkle from the sun was glistening on his skin, and I thought, a sexy dolphin. And the news has been the last couple of days that Fungie has gone missing, and the weather was too bad to go looking for him. And we're getting the impression from the people of Dingle in County Kerry that their entire economy seems to hinge on this one dolphin that lives in the bay around Dingle. And now, for anyone listening outside of Ireland, this sounds crazy. And it is, but in some ways it's very normal. They've got a statue of this dolphin. And now, for a long time, for buckets of time, as far back as people were putting time in buckets, a lot of people have had the conspiracy theory that Fungie, there have been several Fungies. Now, this could be true, but also what seems more likely is that there has been just one Fungie the dolphin, because dolphins are quite intelligent, and this dolphin would come in, and I think the locals would feed it. And if you're gonna get food on a regular basis, you're gonna hang around. Like, I mean, if I was hungry and swimming around, and someone gave me food, I'd probably swim that way the next day and see if I can get some more food. If I could swim, but I can't. And the reasons for that are twofold. The real reason for it is that when I was young, I used to get very bad ear infections, and water would aggravate these ear infections. So I became adverse to getting in the water. So I never learned how to swim. And the fake reason, I say, is that if I accidentally drown, it'll be tragic for my family and friends, but at least the headline in the newspaper will give everyone a nice giggle the next day. Salmon drowns. Ho, 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 ho. But yeah, we went out to see Fungie, and it was nice. But I don't think there have been numerous Fungies, because dolphins, their lifespan is about the age that Fungie is. So they live for about 40 years. And I think Fungie at this stage probably swam out to sea and maybe died, or I don't know, jumped out and went back to his home planet, if you're a fan of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So long, and you're welcome for all the fish, Fungie. But I don't think it's got anything, it doesn't have anything to do with 2020. I hate when people personify, it's like, oh, fuck this year. You fuck the situation, but, don't fuck the year. It's got nothing to do with the year. It's just one of those things. I mean, I think another conspiracy theory that people have, which is not something I've heard because I'm just making it up right now, is that Fungie is being held somewhere. And that because there hasn't been much tourism, there's been a bit of, this whole staycation thing. Of course, myself and Cara went to Bunratty Castle for a little break. And people have been encouraged to go around to their respective countries and take in the delights of their own countries. And people have been doing that. And I think Dingle have felt the pinch And maybe because Dingle's a little bit obscure, a little bit out of the way, it's a lovely, lovely spot. It's a great town, wonderful food, wonderful music, great pubs. I'd highly recommend Dingle, but it is a bit of a ways away. It's right down at the end of the country, pretty much, and it's quite the drive. And I think people are like, oh, no one's coming down here. It's almost like people have forgotten about Fungie. I know. What if we make Fungie disappear? What are you talking about? What if... No, hear me out now, fellas. What if we just put him in a big bath for a while, and then we'll get this whole thing about, oh, Fungie's disappeared. What's happened to Fungie? People looking for Fungie. Will Fungie ever come back? Suddenly, all eyes are on Dingle again. And then, so... in a couple of days, if Fungie just re-emerges and it's like this big joyous thing and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe Fungie came back. I'll be like, well, did he ever leave in the first place? And people will accuse me of being a conspiracy nut. But I'm not. I'm just a man doing some gardening in his apartment. I got some new flowers. And I hoovered the gaff. I found something shocking, actually, when I was cleaning the house the other day. And this is my own fault. I think this is just a nervous thing that I do, where I have quite the big beard now. I have quite the large hermit beard. I've been auditioning for various acting jobs as Santa Claus. And I was Santa Claus in the early 2000s when I lived in Cork City. And I was studying video production and photography down in Cork City. And I was in my sort of mid-20s. And an ad came in a newspaper for local Santas. And I applied for it. And I went in. And I put like grey makeup in my eyebrows. And I wore white gloves. The reason Santas, in-store Santas, wear white gloves is because if they're too young, if they're young men, like I was, and I'm sort of partially now, then they will give that away by virtue of their hands. And kids will go, your hands are too young, you're not an old man. So you'd wear the gloves so the kids would not realise that you were only a young man in your mid-20s and not a morbidly obese yet immortal gift-giver man, which is what I was. And I really enjoyed the job. I got to say, it's one of the most enjoyable jobs I had. When you're Santa Claus in a shopping centre and you're in your little cubby hole, your little, what's it called? Santa's grotto. You're in your grotto, just chilling, and you go to the door of the grotto and kids walk by and they catch a glimpse of you and they are amazed. They look at you like, it's like being Tom Cruise, but only kids can see you. And it was a very enjoyable job. So I'm auditioning to be a Zoom Santa because I can't do any stand up and I've got a big beard and it's an easy enough job. At least I hope it'll be. So hopefully I'll get that Santa job. But my beard is getting so big, and what I do is I have this nervous thing, which I think I get from my mother, because she likes to sort of sometimes pull out the hair in her head and then sort of put it in her mouth, and sort of like she, almost like when you're getting a thread to put it through a needle and you're wetting the end of the thread so you can stick it through the needle. That's what she's doing. And that's what I've ended up doing with my beard. I'm just kind of, because I have a bald head, I'm just kind of, running my fingers through my beard, and occasionally the hairs will come out, and I'll just sort of, toss them on the ground. And I guess because of the air currents that are happening, localized entirely within this apartment, like, listen, there's a hair going out, that I was cleaning it up the other day and I found like a big, massive hairball, and I was shocked. It was like, it was like a whole load of my hair is clumped together in one big ball. And I was like, oh my God, it's like if I was living with a cat, but I don't have a cat. So I guess I'm my own cat. And I don't want to be my own cat. I'd rather be my own dog, a short-haired dog that doesn't shed. But anyway, listen, I'm digressing. We're going to take a short little break. And to lead us into the break, I have discovered an incredible piece of audio from Sir David Attenborough. Now, David Attenborough, who loves animals, and he would be concerned about fungi. But he was caught on a hot mic on a podcast recently talking about animals in the most shocking way possible. And now I had to censor some of it because it's a bit much, but I think, I'll leave it up to your imagination, but I think you'll get the gist. And but it's quite a shocking thing. So this is an exclusive for the podcast. Sir David Attenborough, caught in a hot mic. Check this out.
Well, let's hope there won't be any, because there are lots of things we can do when animals are reduced to and danger of extinction. We can them. About 40 years ago, I was with some mountain gorillas in central of Africa. Mountain gorillas were then very, very rare. There's only 250 of them left. And we showed pictures of them on television around the world. And people thought how terrible it would be if these became extinct. So they subscribed lots of money and lots of people came to help. And now there are over 1,000 of them. So you can an animal if you want to, and you put your mind to it. People around the world are doing that because animals are so precious. So let's hope there won't be any more that go extinct.
Unbelievable stuff. I can't believe that he said that. It's almost so unbelievable that it's not true. Anyway, guys, we're going to take a short little break and we'll be back after these messages. And we're back. Guys, thank you so much for listening so far. So far, so good. If you've stopped listening, then you can't hear this. But the people who are still listening, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you could give me a review, that would be wonderful. Reviews cost nothing but time. And sure, don't we all have a lot of time on our hands right now? And if you don't think you even have time to write a review, here it is. I'll write it for you. Ed's great. Love Ed. Love having Ed in my ears. Love a bit of Ed. 5 stars. So there you go. So if you can't give me a review, you can just play Edwin Salmon of Knowledge podcast from the beginning. The first episode, let it play it through at night with the sound turned down. And that will just that'll just help me get the numbers up and get up the charts. And it's all about the charts. It's like the 1980s and 1990s pop music charts when they really, really mattered. Now, the next 6 weeks, I'm probably going to be recording a lot more extra content. There is extra content already on my Patreon page. There's extra episodes. There's a whole episode about Airplane. There's a whole episode about Radiohead. There's an episode about Planet of the Apes. I'll be recording sequels to those episodes this week. There's some of my writings up there. I'm writing a book. That's right, I'm writing a book. And I'm also writing a book. One of them is much more difficult to say and spell than the other. But all that stuff's up there. So if you want to become a official Salmon Skin and support me, then you will get things in return. It's not just nothing for nothing. It's something for something. And that's the best kind of thing. So, guys, to play us out this week, I have Brendan Blowhard. He has sent in another spookily themed song. Quite the spookily themed song. A personal favourite of his. And it is Michael Jackson's Thriller. So, and of course, there's nothing now with the fullness of time and knowledge more scary than Michael Jackson. So take it away, Brendan.
Kind of spooky in here. Feeling kinda spooky. Will someone let the dog outside so we can go for a whiz? We're going to thrill you. We're going to thrill you really good. We're going to thrill you really good. We're going to thrill you like you should. You need to be thrilled this time. It is a pandemic and scary, but we're all inside and we're having a nice little sing-along. It's close to midnight and something evil's lurking in the dark. What's that out there? Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. Give me back the scream, terror, come on now. You start to freeze as horror looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed, 'cause this is Thriller night, and no one's going to save you from the beast about to strike. You'll know it's Thriller night. You're fighting for your life inside the killer tonight. Yeah. You hear the door slam and realize there's nowhere left to run. You feel the cold hand and wonder if you'll ever see the sun. You close your eyes and hope that this is just imagination, watching the movie or something like that, but all the while you hear the creature creeping up behind. You're out of time, 'cause this is Thriller time. There ain't no second chance against the thing with 40 eyes. You know it's Thriller night. You're fighting for your life inside the killer. Better get the knife. Night creatures call and the dead start to walk in their masquerade. There's no escaping the jaws of the alien this time. His jaws are too wide. They're out to get you. The demons closing in on every side. They will possess you unless you change the number on your dial. They know your phone number. Now is the time for you and I to cuddle close together. Better do it while we have time all through the night. I'll save you from the terrors on the screen. I'll make you see that it's a thriller Halloween night, 'cause I can thrill you more than any ghost would ever dare try. Thriller night. The fungal on my foot will scare you senseless tonight. Oh, that is at my foot. Thriller night. Girl, I can thrill you more than any ghost would ever dare try. Thriller night. So let me hold you tight and share a killer. Someone let that dog out.
Darkness falls across the land.
Oh yeah.
The midnight hour is close at hand.
That's 10 to midnight, yeah.
Creatures crawl in search of blood
Oh, blood drive.
to terrorize your neighborhood.
I gave blood 2 months ago.
And whosoever shall be found
Yeah.
without the soul for getting down
Disco party, yeah?
must stand and face the hounds of hell.
Is that what that dog is barking?
Rot inside a corpse's shell.
That doesn't sound very nice. I mean, I'd rather stay in my gaff. I mean, if you want to rot inside a corpse shell, that's entirely up to you, Vincent Price. I'm not judging you at all. You do whatever you want, Vinny.
The foulest stench is in the air.
Oh yeah, let one
The
go.
funk of 40,000 years.
I had some bad
and
eggs.
Grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom.
Oh yeah, that's the kids trick or treating.
Though you fight to stay alive.
Ah, yeah.
Your body starts to shiver.
I'll turn on the heating.
For no mere mortal can resist
Yeah.
the evil of the thriller.
Here, let me tell you a joke. What? No, wait, I haven't set it up yet. Yeah. All right, yeah, no, look, I've got a funny face. I know that much. All right. See you later. And there you have it. There's Brendan Blowhard with his version of Thriller. Thanks, Brendan. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're going to be okay. Locked down for the next 6 weeks, wherever you are. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I've been Edwin Salmon. This has been some of my knowledge. So take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Don't sneeze on anyone. Stop licking each other's faces. Unless it's consensual and you're all cocooned in the same house. Bye, 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 bye.
Salmon of knowledge, just a 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 salmon of knowledge, Salmon of knowledge podcast.